Hey guys, welcome back to Life on Greenwood. I'm talking about one of my favorite topics today, chalk paint. Chalk paint. One of my viewers asked me about making chalk paint, and it reminded me of maybe I should just do some random facts about chalk paint. So, if you're interested in some random facts about chalk paint, then stick around. Okay, guys, welcome back to Life on Greenwood. I do a lot of painting, of using chalk paint. I use other paints as well, but mostly chalk paint. And so I gathered here some of my favorite chalk paints that I've used and that I've tested and tried out in various projects. And I'll link a couple projects somewhere here so you can see how these chalk paints worked for me. Yesterday I actually went out and bought a brush, and this also triggered my thought about doing some random facts about chalk painting. All right, so I put together a few things. I'll be looking down because I kind of put some things on my iPad so I can remember what to talk about. What is chalk paint? What is chalk paint? Well, chalk paint is really a latex-based paint, but it's infused with a powder, and different manufacturers use different types of powders to make this chalky-like finish. I absolutely love the finish for chalk paint. Chalk paint became popular, very popular in like the 1990s with Annie Sloan. Annie Sloan developed her own chalk paint. As a matter of fact, she didn't just develop the chalk paint, she trademarked the term chalk paint. So Annie Sloan is trademarked. The words chalk paint are trademarked with regards to this type of paint. So much so, it was really funny because as I started thinking about it, I realized that none of these paints that I have here is Annie Sloan, by the way, first of all, because you have to get it from a distributor. But I noticed that none of these distributors here, or none of these paint companies, can use the words chalk paint to describe their chalky-like paint. So, and that is because Annie Sloan has trademarked the words chalk paint to describe this type of paint that we're talking about. And I went out and started looking at my paint. So, random facts: Rust-Oleum calls its chalk-like paint chalked paint. It's called Rust-Oleum chalked paint. Americana Decor calls its paint chalky finish. Chalky finish. And this is my Dixie Belle, and I don't think they call it anything. It's Dixie Belle. I'll have to check on this. This doesn't have anything on it except Dixie Belle Paint Company. Valspar calls its chalk-like paint chalky finish paint. Chalky finish paint. How cute. And here's Kills, which calls their chalk paint Kills chalk style paint. Chalk style paint. Everybody's staying away from that chalk paint because Annie Sloan is not playing. And this is Behr, which calls theirs chalk decorative paint. And everybody's familiar with Waverly, which calls theirs a Waverly Inspirations chalk. Matte finish, no prep acrylic paint. So really fun fact, Annie Sloan has filed lawsuits against several companies who've infringed upon her trademark of that chalk paint. And I'll leave a few links in the description box if you're interested in seeing a reading up about any of these lawsuits that Annie Sloan has filed against companies who tried to use her chalk paint trademark. Interesting. So that's a little fun fact there. All right, what else? How do you make chalk paint? I've made my own chalk paint before, and I was doing some research on the internet about making chalk paint. Fun fact, most people make their chalk paint using regular latex paint, but they include either the three things that I saw: were either baking soda, let's see, plaster of Paris, and the third one, which I used, was the calcium carbonate. And that was really easy. I'll link a video to where I made some of my own chalk style paint using some latex paint and the calcium carbonate. I had to order the calcium carbonate from Amazon though. And I made that chalk paint. Turned out the texture, the consistency was absolutely so nice, so nice. I'll include a video somewhere. All right, what's another fun fact about chalk paint? One of the things they talk about with chalk paint, and you've probably heard this before, is that you don't have to prep. There's no prep. That's not exactly true. I think there is some prep. First of all, you want to make sure that the piece that you're painting is clean. And they say there's no sanding. Well, you know what? You might want to sand if, depending on the material that you're working with first. They say you don't have to prime. Well, you don't have to prime, but it depends on the surface that you're working with. I used to, one of the things that I used to hear all the time was, oh, it covers in one coat. I have never seen that. I have never seen that. So that's if you've seen it covering in one coat, please comment below. If you've seen the chalk paints covering in one coat, comment below and tell me which brand you use that actually covered in one coat. If you're going from white over white, you might get away with something like that. But anyway, prep, clean the surface that you're going to work with. I would say you might want to sand in some cases, depending on the surface that you're dealing with. And priming really depends on the surface that you're dealing with. But overall, the beauty of using chalk paint is that it just covers so well. And the finish is usually so great. And it's a thick finish. Now, it's not for everyone. Everyone doesn't like that. So it's to each his own. Another fun fact about chalk paint is that you don't need special brushes. I know they sell these special brushes just for chalk paint. They say, oh, it's not going to go in any better, in my opinion. I've used all kinds of brushes for chalk paint. I think it depends on what you're doing, but I've used all kinds of brushes. I've used the sponge brushes. I've used regular brushes. I picked up this brush yesterday from Walmart, and this is a Waverly chalk brush, and this was like 12 something, and I picked this up. I had another chalk style brush a while ago, and that got messed up, so I needed to replace it. But I use all kinds of brushes, tell the truth. What's another fun fact is that you have to use wax to finish your chalk paint project. You have to use wax over it. You don't have to use wax over your product once you finish painting it. Some people like to use wax. I think I've used wax one time and all the items that I've ever painted with chalk paint. To me, it was a little laborious having to go and do the wax and then wipe it off and all of that, and then you have to do that eventually sometime down the path. You have to do it again. What I use and what some of my fellow painters use is a polycrylic. Use a polycrylic, and when you're finished putting your paint on and you're done and everything's beautiful, seal it with a polycrylic, and it's great. So you really don't need wax. You can use a polycrylic and you'll be happy that you did. Okay, what's another one? Let's see. The price, fun fact Fun fact, the price tag for chalk paint can run from $6 to $40, believe it or not. I have some here that are on the cheap side. Like you can get a little Waverly, for a small Waverly like this for about $3 or $4, all the way up to the Valspar, which is like $31. And which is crazy, but that's a fun fact. So that's are a few fun facts about chalk paint. Just some random facts that I thought that you might enjoy. Have you used chalk paint before? Comment below. Tell me which of these is your favorite, which is your least favorite. I really like them all. I like them all. I can't wait to get my hand on some SLOAN chalk paint though and see what all the rage is about. But I'm quite happy with these that I've tried out before. I think they're all good in their own ways. I'll leave some links to a couple videos, as I mentioned, that cover some of the chalk paints that I've used. And if you've seen any of those, please go back and leave me a comment and tell me what your experience has been with chalk paint. I appreciate it. So thank you so much for listening and checking out these random facts about chalk paint. Hopefully it was helpful. And I'll leave the information that I spoke about the SLOAN and the lawsuits and all of that. I'll leave those in the description box so you can read up on that if you're interested in that kind of thing. If you're new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. And for my returning friends, thank you so much. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.